Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. I'm your host, Bruce. I'll be going through live analysis. Typically, we do this Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, holiday on Monday. We will have kind of a short week here. And then live trading with Joseph, our J Trader, with stocks tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then Scott Pulsini, futures trader, Thursday. So that's the schedule for the advanced webinar here at 10 a.m. However, there are many other webinars and events. You go to our YouTube channel or our Discord channel. Let me show you on YouTube. You'll see the other events here. We have Tom B up next at 11:30. We have options with Doug at 1:30. And then Rain is, well, he was earlier this morning. He is, if you scroll down a little bit, he's here. He goes for an hour starting at 8:30 a.m. These are all East Coast times. Then we have the Algo Boys. They are not located here on YouTube. However, they are on our Discord. You can go to our Discord channel you'll see the Algo Boys room. Let me show you here. Yeah, I'm actually in it right here in the text room. You can scroll down a little bit. It's right here, the Algo Boys, in the voice channel. They will be streaming from 2:30 until the close at 4. All right, so we have quite a lineup. This is all free education. It is all about order flow and applying that to your trading with different trading methods. The advanced webinar here is about understanding and applying the basics, order flow, reading it, what it is, the foundation here. That's what we're offering you now, and then you can take that much further with the other traders. For example, Tom B will go through volume profile in detail, the way that he trades. Then Doug will go through options and order flow and how he trades. All right, so we have a very robust education that's all free. Go check it out. Anyway, thanks for coming to this webinar. Let's go through the disclosures and then we'll jump into the live market here. Hey, Ramon. Welcome. Happy holidays. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. The risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in and see what's going on here. We're going to look at the S&P E-mini unless you guys want to look at something different. We have stocks, we have crypto, Bitcoin is here, and various stocks, also the NQ, the 6E or Euro dollar, the NASDAQ, crude oil. Anyway, let's go through the basics in here. What are we seeing here? Well, let's look at the bigger picture to begin with. Since we're starting the new week here, not looking for a whole lot to unfold here. There's not a lot of economic releases, a lot of larger players. It's not going to be a whole lot of activity, most likely. Maybe there's kind of a shoring up of positions for the year from some of those larger players. It's usually a quiet period in the markets, but we'll have webinars all week long here. All right, so let's jump back. Let's take a look at our bigger picture here, here we go. So our candlestick charts, and this is the daily over here on the right. Then we have the hourly in the middle and the 15-minute here on the on the left is the daily, hourly in the middle, 15-minute on the right. Okay, so what are we seeing here? Well, let's start with the daily. All right, and we can see many days in here since back in July or so, maybe June. We saw that spike to the upside, came up and tested this previous swing just above it, and then failed pretty heavily back down below this whole range here, and has started a new range down here. Okay, now we were looking for that continuation of this move last week back down into some of these areas in here. I remember vividly it was 38.11, and that's where we tested one day, and then a few days later we went through that, tested it down to 3,800 or even below that, and then it rejected and came back up into this small range in here. So that's what's happening on the daily. So we know there's some buying wicks down here, and we can also see some selling pressure in here as well. That's what we see here on the daily. Not a whole lot going on, and we're right kind of in the middle, maybe at the kind of lower area of the range right now. On the hourly here, yeah, here's the move to the downside and all this chop back and forth in here. Now, one thing to take a note here in the market structure, and we talk about market structure all the time in order flow. You can see it in here. All right, let me get the pen tool out. You can see it in here. Hold on. All right. You can see this structure or this kind of range in here, and this is where it broke from here, right? This previous range. So, and you can see these very, very clearly. See how this kind of it was resistance previously. It turned into support, and then it came back into and turned into resistance again now. And then in here, well, there's a bigger range also in this area in here, and it's a little more challenging maybe to kind of draw up, but something along those lines there, right? Maybe down here, but it's a little harder to draw around that one. Anyway, understanding these structures in here, and we'll go through it on much smaller time frames, so that you'll be able to understand these structures and then gain something from that and apply to your trading today. Okay, so but it's all really the same things in here. We see the same ideas again and again. You can see here that bigger structure, and then this one here that these two rectangles. Okay, well, here we can start to break it down, and we can look at structures within structures. Okay, so here's one kind of here. There's another one kind of here. You can see a small little one up here when it closed the gap, and then it just immediately dropped off, as you guys can see, and retested back to where it opened here. All right, so you can see that we have not filled this gap yet. Okay, so that's interesting. I thought maybe on Friday we'd get up there and maybe trade at 3,900 and fill that gap. We didn't get anywhere close to it, but we did get up to the high here, and we were looking for that up to the high here around this 38.80. Now here we are on the 15-minute chart here, and you can see the move up to the swing right here. Here's our gap over here, and then here's the immediate drop here. Okay, now this is the cash open here is what we're looking at. So I'm looking at regular trading hours in here. Yeah, so these kinds of concepts that we're going over about the structure, well, you can see it in the 15-minute chart as well. There's a kind of a structure here, right? And then see the wicks here. There's kind of a structure in here. Now it's you know, a little bit of volatility and back and forth here, and pretty quick moves, but it is there, and you'll see it. We're going to start to dig into it deeper here. You can see there's a small one, little one here, and there's one down here as well. Okay, now we're going to dig into it deeper, and we're going to look for those areas to be tested, okay, in the order flow, and then I'll show you why they are being tested as well in the order flow. Okay, so here's our move down. Now let's take a look here and where this might go right now. So pretty sharp move down, and we're seeing a bit of a move back up at the moment. And why is it bouncing here? It's kind of odd. Well, there is a swing right here, okay, around 38.40, and it went down below that and kind of back up now. All right, but the momentum for the day at least from what we can see, at least on this 15-minute chart, is certainly down. Okay, so maybe this is just a pullback, and then maybe we come back and revisit this 38.40 or a little bit lower, 38.36 or so, 37. And then maybe we can even get back down into the swing down here that we marked up around 38.23. Right, so we'll be looking for that. Now, the opposite scenario to go through and look at is if this is a lot of buying pressure, well, then maybe we'll come right back up to the top of the range, up in here, 38.75, and maybe we can even get up into 3900 here, that gap fill that we were talking about last week. Okay, so we're just going through different scenarios in here and understanding the price ranges, structure, and then kind of the speed of the market here by looking at the size of the candles. Okay, so good morning, Chase. Let's see here. Any questions over in Discord? Good morning, Doug. Okay, it looks like Doug answered your question there. Okay, yeah. All right, so anyway, all right, let's take a look at Bookmap and see what's going on and get into the nitty gritty here. Well, here's our move to the downside. Okay, now this relates to this move here. Okay, at 9:30. Here's 9:30 right here. So this is that move to the downside. Here's our low. Okay, and here's that rejection around that 40 area. Okay, and we saw this swing here in the 40 area. Well, here we can see a small swing in here, and then there's liquidity down here at 38.40. It stayed in the order book and it filled. All right, so this was a pretty strong move to the downside here. And then you can see the liquidity filled here, and then this kind of back and forth in here. Now what do we see? Well, we're seeing buyers back up above this swing, and some size here, actually some pretty good volume. So this looks like it wants to come up and test into this swing here, 57. Okay, maybe even higher, maybe up in here, 62, and then maybe it can come all the way back up. We need to see, but the volume is picking up here on the buy side, so we're still looking for this to go up. Okay, so 57 is our next target, and then we're looking for yeah, I kind of like this 60 or 62 area up here. You can see some liquidity now starting to come in up here at about 63, 63 and a half or so. Okay, so it looks like now we're going to go through and take, there's a little bit of a pop there. Okay, there's our move, and we're still looking for this to go higher. All right, so now that's some pretty good volume. That's a stop run here as well. Okay, but looking for this liquidity up here. Okay, now it's 63 and a half. It's more like 64, 65 at this time. All right, so anyway, guys, now we'll get into like why. Okay, so why we thought this was going to happen. We talked about. Then we talked about the bigger picture scenario here as well. Okay, the move was to the downside to begin with in the momentum, but we covered the opposite scenario. This is what it looks like here in the order flow, and it's telling us this. It's telling us. Here's why. Well, strong move to the downside, strong sell volume with the dots. Okay, into high liquidity here, right in here, right in here. See the high liquidity on the bid, they filled. High liquidity on the bid down at 40, they got filled too. Okay, now in this whole area here, let's just go back a little bit and take a look. In this whole area in here, I would still be very bearish in here. This looks bearish. There's more selling. They're in control. They're moving the market lower. And then this is just back and forth in here. There's a little bit of buying in here compared to selling. Okay, that's true, Well, okay, maybe it just comes up here to 50 and bounces off of the VWAP here and then fails and goes lower, right? That would be the primary scenario here by what we see in the order flow here. And by order flow, I mean the relationship between the limit orders here and the aggressors. And we can read that in here. Okay. Now, what happened here is the buying picked up right here at the swing, and it broke it. It broke through VWAP as well. It came up to this swing here, and then it failed and retested back down here, and then we found more buyers. Because we found more buyers here when we first looked at the market, and we saw this buying in here as well, we were looking for it to go higher. 57, 60, 62, all the way back up to the open here. All right, so that's exactly what it's doing. Okay, are there any questions on this? Like it's just trying to simplify these things, trying to understand understand that the players here, see how they get above the range here on size. In here we were a little confused, like we weren't quite sure. Sellers certainly in control, not a whole lot of buying in here. There's some, but not a whole lot. More selling in here. Okay, but then this changes everything. Okay, now here's the retest, and then we come back up and we find more buyers here. Okay, this is looking pretty good for it to break higher. Okay, and it is this volume in here that gives us insight to that potential. Okay, and then we immediately look back and looked at some of these areas of liquidity being filled along the way. So they're buying, and we know they got filled. You can see the big red dots into their high liquidity. So the lesson here, I think, in the order flow to go over is a lot of times, well, the lesson is in this case here, we don't see a lot of buying in here, and sellers are still in control. But this is where we see the buying, and they're breaking the swing. So typically this is a different scenario here, and typically what we see is exhaustion on the sell side down here and lots of buyers down here moving the price back up. Okay, in this case this is more like kind of a retest back to 50 on low buy volume. Okay, but then they broke out from it. So this is the critical area here, and we'll mark it up. Okay, right here at 50, and then we'll put in a rectangle here, because this is the volume that matters here. And we've covered this many times in the past, that once they get buyers up in here, the rest of this volume here is trapped. Okay, and they can move it away from this whole range in here. Now it just kind of floated up there. Typically they attack, I mean, you see traders attack it to get up here, and they want to move the market here up to here. Okay, because it's at a discount, right? Instead it kind of floated around in here, then got up here, and then we see the change. All right, so it's important to note that variation in here, and we can see it. Okay, and that's why we thought this was going to go higher. All right, so let me know if you have any questions on this. This is the ES, the S&P E-mini, CS1. All right, so this is a variation where it's a little different in the order flow. What matters is up here in this variation. A lot of times, like I said, you'll see that the traders attack it from down below, and you'll see the sellers kind of stay away, and you'll get that reversal, right? In this case, the reversal looks like this. So it still looks pretty bad to the downside, but then it can be upended as long as you get buyers back up here. Does that make sense to everybody? That once you get the buyers up here. All right. So this is kind of important. Um, and Ramon, yeah, we can. I don't have gold up right now, I think. Uh, anyway, you can apply this to gold as well. Right. So now once you understand this, you can own all of this. All right. It's that powerful. Right. So we're still looking for this to go higher. All right. We had a bit of a pullback in here. Where did we pull back? Where it opened from, where the sellers came in. Note that area right here. Okay. That's where it went up to 38.70. We talked about 38.70, and we got a bit of a pullback here now. All right, so that's interesting. Let's jump back here and take a look at our 15-minute chart and hour chart. Okay, so here we are, and we talked about this scenario, and now we're seeing maybe some profit taking up here around 38.70 or so, and maybe it will reverse. Maybe it will chop around in here. It's hard to tell with the candlestick charts. Okay, it'll be a lot easier when we see it in the order flow in Bookmap. All right, so on the hourly chart here, it looks pretty poised here, actually. I kind of like the hourly here. It's a pretty strong green candle. Okay, and a string of green candles in here, and we haven't filled this gap yet. So maybe this is when we're going to fill the gap. All right, so what are we looking for up here then? If that's the case, and note how this is all fractal, and here's why. Let's just get rid of all of that. Hold on. This is all fractal, and here's why. Okay, this range in here, okay, what we're looking for is this little corner up here. We're looking for the same thing as we are here. Okay, so we have a range, and then we have buyers up here, and then we got this move higher, like this pretty strong move higher. All right, so what we're looking for in this is exactly the same thing. Range and buyers up at the corner here, so up around this 38.80 or so. That's where we want to see a lot of buyers. Okay, it's that's on the hourly. Maybe it's a little too high. 75, 73, somewhere up in here. This is where we want to see a lot of buyers. It is exactly the same as what we saw up here. Okay, now this is a strong move up, so you can see the market's taking a bit of a pause right now, which is to be expected up at where the market opened here. Okay, so now we're going to look and see if we get buyers back up here at 70 to 73 ish. If we can get that, and you know, up to 80 as well, we get those strong buyers up in here, green. If we get big green dots, and let's get back to the pen tool, big green dots like up here, then we're looking for that move higher. Okay, and we'd be looking for that gap fill at that time. Right, now that's just what the scenario is going to look like, and that's what we want to cover, is these scenarios. What will it look like when we start to see it unfold? Then you can take a position. Okay, now this is not a trading room, but you can look for high probability setups, and then go with the order flow. All right, so we saw it down here, and we were looking for that scenario to unfold, and it was unfolding. We saw those buyers come in, so we were looking for that move higher. Now we're looking, we don't know, that hasn't unfolded yet, that scenario. Okay, but that's what we're looking for, right? Is those big buyers up at the top of the range here. Now if we don't get that, and we get an opposite scenario, well, we'll note that. Okay, instead of big buying dots up here, you know, then instead we'll be looking for red dots selling down here. Okay, and if we get that, okay, they're not as big as this, but if we get something like that, then we're looking for retests to these areas here. And the first retest will be down here. Whoops, sorry guys, hold on. The first retest will be down here. Okay, or the bottom of this range, or there's even this big volume cluster right here at 60 that we were looking at earlier, and then 62.5. Those areas are still valid as well. Obviously those will retest first. The bigger retest would be down at 55 or 50 here. Okay, and we're looking at here, it also lines up with VWAP right here around 55. So if you're a VWAP trader and you're looking at that, you can mix this with the order flow. So you'd be looking for a move down to here and maybe a bounce off of VWAP. Okay, and it makes sense because look at the range here. You see the top of the range in here, and then VWAP is support right there at the top of that little range here. Right, so these are the two scenarios we're looking for, and then we'll just wait for it to start to unfold, and then you can look for a position, and then you can manage that position, manage your risk. Right, so we're starting to see sellers come in. Okay, so looks like they want to come back down, or looks like price wants to come down and retest maybe our 60 level here. So let's see. Okay, let's read the order flow in here. All right, so the selling's okay. It's nothing great. It's made the test to the swing here already, and we've seen buyers in the book here. Okay, on the bid here, 61, 60, and then also 57. Okay, so yeah, all right, they're still dropping. Okay, so looking for this 60. Okay, now what we're going to look for in here is we're going to get more red dots in continuation. I imagine we're going to get some buyers here around 60 and maybe a retest back to here. Okay, just where we drop from here. Just looking for a retest right now. Okay, and that just unfolded. All right, now why did we think that? Well, because we didn't see a whole lot of sellers in here, and they're testing into this liquidity here, and they're staying in the book, and you know, a lot of the places in these areas in here. So to find buyers come back in, or at least profit taking from the sell side, made some sense. All right, now let's go back and now we kind of have to kind of refresh the scenarios again. All right, so scenario on the pullback, it could still pull back some more. Let's just look at the technicals. Okay, so we have kind of a trend line. We have an area here where price dropped and the sellers came in. So maybe we'll find more sellers. Maybe we'll find exhaustion here on the buy side. Okay, that would be, we didn't find exhaustion here. Okay, we see buyers here. Right, and let's see if we get a retest up here and get buyers. Yeah, we do. Okay, so they should be able to take this higher then. Okay, so let's see, back up into these swings here, back up to 67, and then maybe back up to our 70 level here. All right, so now we can talk about, let's talk about risk management on some of these ideas in here. All right, so risk management wise, well, we saw this starting to unfold the way we liked it. One of the ways to get in is just jump in, market buy, go with these guys, and go with the momentum, because we can see it coming in. So we know that a lot of these traders start to jump in and move the market away from these previous areas, and we're getting on board and riding along with them. Okay, now one of the ways I think is it's up to you how you want to manage your risk. A good way to manage your risk is to take some partial profits along the way. Okay, so I would probably still be in this one, to be honest, and I'd have my stop maybe up to the break-even point, and I'd probably be right around here, and I might be stopped out on this. Yeah, I'd probably be stopped out on that. Okay, now why? Why didn't I take some partial profit up here? Well, typically I look for taking a partial profit a tick or two in front of the high liquidity here at 69. Okay, and so it traded up here to, well, I'm sorry, 69.5 is where that liquidity is. It actually did trade to 69, so a couple ticks in front of it. I still doubt I would have taken partial profit. Okay, but did I lose anything? No. Okay, it would have been break even plus one, and then I'd look for the next one, right? And it's still actually in play, right? So this is it. It just bounced off of here, and we're starting to find some buyers. Now we're looking again for buyers up here, and we're looking for the same scenario here. Now we got to go through the opposite scenario though, and what would that look like? Okay, well, it'd be sellers down here. Maybe the order book moves down on the offer. These guys pull on the bid, and then looking for sellers to take it down lower, maybe down to this liquidity here around 61 3/4. Okay, so I don't like it on the buy side here right now. All right, we don't know. That might change, and the order flow might change. But it kept us away from that buying at this area here until we see more of the trader's position or behavior to buy, and then to break structure and to trade up to high liquidity. All right, so here they're starting. Buyers are starting to come in, but it just looks kind of back and forth in here still. Okay, I like the buying cluster here. Okay, looking better. Looking better. Yeah, I'm staying away right now. You can see this is there was a little bit of buying up here, but then none, sellers, and pullback. Okay, retest back up here. Now, on this retest back up here, if we get a big green dot up here, yep, let's see it. All right, let's see if we can get some buying in here. I still don't like it. It's not too convincing. I would love to see the bid show more up here at a higher level, and we're not seeing that. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Looks like buyers want to trade it back to the 69 3/4 or half. Okay, it's not that convincing here, but it's starting to shape up here. Okay, and let's take a look at the market structure now. And just putting kind of the same way we're doing. A lot of traders look at volume profile. We're looking at it in the diagonal here with these price channels. Yeah, see, there's not a whole lot of buying up here, so it's starting to kind of wane a little bit. All right, let's see if we actually get some sellers here. There's liquidity there, high liquidity at 68. Yeah, it's just a little odd, and it's a little back and forth. This was starting to look pretty good in here. Okay, starting to look pretty good. Now we're looking for, let's see if we can interesting move there. All right, so we got buyers that took on 68. Okay, so the transaction took place here. Buyers met sellers here at 68. If we get buyers back up above this 68 here, we should get our move. Okay, it would be more probable that we'll get our move into 69, 70, 75, 80 level up here, that target we were looking at earlier in that gap fill. Yeah, and I'm not seeing those buyers up here. It just exhausted out. So we're going to get some sellers in here. These sellers here will likely now take it to the bottom of the range, 65. And this previous area here, 64 and a half. Right. So and that's starting to play out nicely. So the this is kind of range bound activity in here. Floyd, we're just go through the process in here, and you know, you don't have to look at any smaller time frames to trade like this. Okay, we're gonna, and what I think is important in here in the process is to note the order flow and note what it looks like. When you see that in the order flow, there's time to get in on these, right? And you'll see it, and you'll see it kind of shift and change, and it's like, it's just telling you. There was, like, for example, there was plenty of time to get in this. I'm sorry, not here, here. There was plenty of time to get in that. That was pretty simple. Or, you know, it was an easier read. We knew that the buyers were coming in. We're just looking for it to go up to like our 60 level, and then we said 62 and a half. And then now, see this is becoming easier to read now. We're finding the buyers that we're looking for. All right, so I'm looking for them to take it higher here. Let's see if we can get a bounce out. Here's our retest already. Okay, now let's see if we get it. If we can, I wouldn't get in yet. I would look for, again, more buyers up here. Right, we had a 100% retracement of this quick move up here on that strong buying. Sellers took it right back down. Okay, so I got to see buyers back up here commit. Otherwise, it opens us up for like, oh wow, look at that, it's, you know, shiny object here, and then you know, sellers will come in on the other side here and drop it right down to 65. So we have to be careful of that. Right, so we're looking for commitment on the buy side. Here they come. Okay, looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't know, it's still just, something's just not quite there yet. It's starting to look better. I see the liquidity coming in up here. Now we can go, let's go through the opposite side here, because this might play out pretty nicely. Looking for sellers at the bottom edge here, and then some exhaustion in here. Now watch these sellers rip it down here to 64 and 3/4, maybe a bit lower. Okay, so this was a trap, right? And we were looking for those buyers up here again, but there was just something, we're running into resistance around our 70 level, and we just we saw the back and forth in here, and then we started to see some sellers here. That's not right, right? And then they have like kind of a wide field here to rip it right back down here, and this becomes the patsy, these traders up here. Okay, and they get stopped out, and you can verify it. Here's our stop run to the upside, or downside here. Floyd, let's just zoom out. You need practice? Absolutely, absolutely. We all need practice, and then also wrapping a risk management strategy around it is you know, pretty simple. You just need to, you know, how much do you want to risk, where do you want to put your stops, etc. But reading the order flow, just wait and watch for something that's better. You don't need to trade everything in here, right? We're going to go through all the different scenarios, And we'll look for this and that to unfold, but you don't want to miss this one, right? This one is a keeper, right? And then when you really see that difference here, that's when you want to be on board. Okay, so look for that real big distinction in the order flow, right? So we have the strong move down, the strong selling, and we noted we didn't really, it would still look like selling to me, but this changed things. It broke here and it broke it on strong buy volume. It retested, and then we saw buyers back up here again. This is looking good, okay, to retest some of these areas. And that's a high probability outcome there, okay, or higher probability, put it that way, in the order flow. Now, let's take a look here. Now, we went all and did all this back and forth in here, but yet again, we're up here again. Okay, I'm looking for our buyer. It's already unfolding. I'm looking for our buyers here, okay, and looking for them to now look at this here. This looks much better. Okay, so I'm looking for the continuation now. All right, so there's something in here I don't like that makes me a little leery in here. So I might wait for a pullback to this kind of 70-ish level here, and then try to get in. All right, now here's the reasoning behind that. Is this was a big stop run here. Okay, I want to see continuation after the stop run. Right, just because people got stopped out doesn't mean it's going to fade back into here. I need to see commitment from the traders after the stop run. Which direction does this want to go? Because these aren't real buyers here, entering. They're exiting. So now, do we see real buyers entering right now? Well, look at the volume after that. Look at the dots after that. No, I don't see any buyers. Now they're starting to kind of trickle in a little bit. See what I mean? Like how we can look at this from the stops and icebergs and understand that this stop run here is a lot of traders, exiting the market most likely. Thanks, Captain Price. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all your comments in here. Guys, if you like this, hit the like button, please. Subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. It really does. Like we had a poll in here about going over these things at a slower pace, or like kind of taking a step back a little bit, instead of like looking at the really micro or much lower time frames in here. All right, guys, so now look at this. Now, is there a stop run here? No. So this is new buying coming in here, okay, after the big stop run. Now the question is this sustainable? Okay, so this is the range we're looking for at right now. Now, if we get sellers down below here, look out. They're going to take it lower. Okay, and these guys will get stopped out in here. Right, so that's one scenario to take a look at. The other scenario is the buyers back up here at the top of the range. Okay, around this 72-ish area. So look at the sellers come in after that new buying came in here. And we know that's new buying because it's not a stop run, right? So look at the sellers try to squeeze these guys and get a long squeeze. Okay, now the opposite scenario is also starting to kind of unfold a little bit. What if these guys can get squeezed? What's that is going to look like here? That will look like this. Big green dots up here. Okay, maybe an order book underneath here, supporting that move, right? And if we get that scenario, then we're coming up to 74, 75, 76, most likely. Okay, so we're looking again at these scenarios. Now that scenario is certainly not unfolding. It's the opposite. It was still these guys getting squeezed, looking for the stop run down here, which is already starting to unfold a bit. Yeah, Mark, let's go over stop run. Okay, stop run is a really simple thing. It's just it's rather unique to see here in Bookmap though, with the MBO data. Okay, and the reason being is that we know for a fact that it's a stop run, or stops are transacting. Okay, we also know for a fact if icebergs are transacting. Okay, and we just had some iceberg transact right in here. All right, so these are larger players buying here. Okay, and they're getting squeezed immediately. All right, so anyway, like yeah, this is very objective information that this was a lot of these in here were stops being triggered and transacting. Okay, now look at the market go lower like this. It's digging lower, and it's not finding stops. Okay, I mean it's found some earlier, but right in here, I found a few, I guess. We don't see a big stop run like this. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So if that's the case, well, this is new selling driving the market. Okay, well then we're looking for a trend, right? We'd be looking for this trend to continue. Let's go through the what if though. What if we get buyers back up above 67? These guys are trapped. And look for our green dots up here at 67 3/4. And it's not unfolding yet. Okay, so sellers are still in control in this move. Okay, but watch this here. Okay, I see a few buyers up there and not enough. And let's see if we can get up a little higher and get more buyers up here. Okay, looking pretty good. All right, not a whole lot up here, but more buying. Okay, I like it here on this retest. I'm looking for these buyers here to drive it up to 70 here. Okay, let's see the bid start to light up a little bit, and let's see those buyers here at 70. There they are, and now we're looking just to go up to 70 at 67 to 70 here. Okay, there's some exhaustion, there's some buying. Now this is the buyers got to take it now. The buyers have to take it now, else these guys will be stopped out way down here. The same scenario, or opposite scenario I should say. Okay, still looking for them, and I want to see them disrupt all of this selling in here. So yeah, can't do it. Sellers coming back in. Yeah, it's tricky. This time of day is tricky after the momentum in the beginning of the market, and then this is really kind of back and forth. A lot of times, what we've seen recently is European market closes around 11:30. East Coast time, and then we get more kind of pure directional moves. It depends. It really depends on the day and what's going on. So yeah, okay. Buyers were able to drive it back up to just about here, and then remember we're looking. We saw this cluster in here. That's nice to see that buying cluster in here. Here's our exhaustion in here, and that's you note how the sellers come in here and they drive it. They drive it lower. Okay. Now I know that's hindsight now, but the buyers had their chance here to drive it up to 70. Okay. Now, even in here, like if I got in here, now this would just be like, it's not a trade recommendation room, but we're looking for this scenario to unfold. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying. It's looking like it wants to break. It did break, but it's got to get to 70. So if it can't do it, I like to put my stop to break even very quickly, because this should happen now. If it doesn't happen now, I wait for one when it does happen now. So I took a shot at it and it didn't pan out. Okay, but just don't lose money on it. It should work. If it doesn't, it's not ready. It'll work. We look for the times when it will work, and that's just one way to trade this. Okay, you come back at 11:30. Tom B is going to go over volume profile. Well, let's just take a look at that. Okay, so for example, look at our profile here. Let's just get rid of our drawings in here. Yeah, I mean, you can see the breakout here, and then it's kind of chopped up here. It's retesting the bottom of the range in here and the profile as well. Right, so maybe it will get a move back to VWAP here. Okay, maybe it'll even come back into some of these higher volume nodes down in these areas. This is the point of control down here. Okay, around 45. Just means the most traded level, right? Just look at where the traders are creating value here by their transactions. And that's what we're looking at here. All right, we're looking at the kind of aggregation of volume in the horizontal. Okay, but we're missing that vertical element with volume profile. So here we can see the vertical. Here's the sellers, here's the sellers, here are the sellers. Okay, so let's just take a look at it now in a different way, not just looking at some of these smaller areas here. We can look at maybe the horizontal and the volume profile here. Okay, well, let's take a look here. Well, what does it mean down in here? You would think that if this is value here, well, there should be buyers down at the bottom edge. Well, there are 61 and 60. Okay, now let's see, are they transacting? Kind of, yeah, they just transacted. Okay, great. So we found that these guys wanted to buy. They did. Sellers took them on. Now sellers, the aggressors, the red dots, trying to drive it a little lower here, maybe down into here or VWAP, maybe 55. Okay, now we're at the bottom of the range. Now what about all of these traders up in here? Okay, in this trade, okay, or they're in the market. Okay, well, this is, they're hoping it comes back to a value area in here that they recognized earlier. Right? Maybe they're buying more. Maybe their stops are down, in this area in here. Okay, so now what do the sellers think? Is this value up here, or is it down here at 45 or 52 here? Well, so far we saw some buyers in here on the bid. Okay, do we see more aggressive sellers here charging after this liquidity? Well, we're still in a downtrend. Yeah, sellers will be very happy, I think, if they can trade it down to 50. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. So we're still finding more sellers trying to drive it a little bit lower. Now watch, we'll see buyers come in and try to scoop it up here. And yeah, here they come. Okay, it's at the bottom of the range. So what does that mean? It means that a lot of traders may think that this whole range here, we're at a discount here right now. So now they're likely to try to move it back into, 67.5 or 67 here. Okay, that's kind of the high volume node of that big range there, and that is the definition of value. So let's see if they follow through. It's a battle here. Do those buyers, do they try to trade it back to here, 67, or we have more sellers thinking you're crazy, it's not worth that. I think it's worth much lower down here at 45 or 46, and I'm selling. It's outside of this range, and I want to see it drive lower. Okay, and we're watching this battle kind of unfold here. If I could use either volume dots or heat map, what would I use and why? Uli, it's a great question. The answer is you really need both. You need to understand that context. All right, so and that's the magic here in Bookmap, is being able to understand that. So look at the buyers trying to fight it here, right? Sellers trying to drive it lower away from this area. Buyers are coming in and they're back at this top edge here. Okay, I like this buying here. I think the buyers they can move it back to 67. Okay, now is this high probability? It's not bad. It's not great though either. They're just trying to drive it back to value here, and they're starting to pick it up now. If they can pick it up here at 64, I like it. Now we need to see a distinction though. The bid is way down here. They are bidding up a bit, but it's way down here at 60. This looks nice. Look at this right here, guys. I'm looking for a move right back to the 64, and then let's see if we get our buyers at 64, and then the move higher, 67. Here's why this looks nice. Look at this double or triple bottom here. Look at the order flow within the triple bottom. All right, sellers, more sellers here, buyers here on this swing, but we go lower. Look at, are there any sellers down here? Very few, if any. We got buyers though. That's a distinction here, right? We see the buyers again at the top edge of this little range in here, and they bought. So we're looking for them to test back up to here, and if we get enough now, they'll break it and up into 67, and then maybe up into 70 here as well. All right, so it's this change in the order flow right here. Now I would have taken some off at 64. All right, that would be me though. And reduce some risk, and now look for that bigger move, 67 and maybe 70 to unfold here. Okay, stop. Well, there's a couple different ways to trail your stop on that. Okay, either I would be at break even, okay, and I likely would have been stopped out already or very close to it. Or you can also put your stop at overall break even. Now this it usually you know, risk management and trying to find something that works for you is the key. What I find or works better for me is this has to look really good to move my stop at overall break even. Okay, to give this really a chance to run. Then I'll do it. Otherwise, stop at break even, and I would have been stopped out. I'll just look for the next one. Okay, so here's how I, or consideration for the trade management is to, we saw the triple bottom here. We saw the distinction in the order flow. Okay, some sellers, some buyers here. No sellers, buyers come in. They're going to move it to the top of the range. And it tests up there, and then we don't find the buyers. Okay, so it didn't pan out up into 67. Now let's just go through a trade management scenario in here. So suppose you got in right around in here somewhere. All right, so 64, you took your profit. All right, now let's just duplicate this and we'll move it. Okay, so that was your entry. Your overall stop would be down here. Okay, and let's just move it up a tick to make it so it's stop plus break even, and you would have been stopped out. So you gave it a chance to run, and you didn't lose any money though. Okay, in fact, you even covered your costs on the transactions. Right, it didn't work out. All right, so you could manage it that way. Does that, any questions on that, like how to understand that if you take some off here, your overall stop is down now here, and that would be your break even overall. Okay, the other way to do it is you take some off here and your stop at break even, which would be your entry point. Okay, and then you know, you're out. Now there's a couple of different ways to take a look at this here, and you can understand the cons and the pros in here. The pro here is that you're looking for the continuation and you're giving it a shot to run. The negative part though is you're still kind of hoping down here, and you got stopped out down here. In this case, the hoping wouldn't be so bad. You could still get in if you saw the opposite scenario and try to take it back down. But you're still kind of like hoping for this to work out, and you're kind of emotionally tied to it, you know, looking for that bigger picture to unfold, right? But if you can get stopped out early, now you wiped your emotions or put them aside. You're out of it. Now look at the buying coming back in now. This is looking great again. Right, back up here, top edge. I got to see those buyers up here. Okay, good so far. Yeah, I like it. I would jump in here. This looks better. Okay, so let's suppose we jumped in here. Yeah, 63.5. Okay, let's just suppose. It's not a trade recommendation room. Okay, so stopped out on that at break even. Okay, what if we get more buyers back up here? Could still work out. Okay, this should have worked at this time. It didn't. So we get out. This is pretty strong volume though, so I'm still looking for this to work. Okay, I'd be getting in again up here, 64, and stopped out. This it has to work, but see how things are changing here, and we're not getting caught up in it. Look at the selling all of a sudden really picked up down here. We didn't see that earlier. Okay, all right, buying back in here. We got sellers as fuel here. All right, let's see if we get buyers up here. Would love to see that. And not getting them. So, but now if we zoom out a little bit, see the distinction here? See this strong move here? So this is still turning into, you know, potential strong move, a little bit of a pullback, and then looking for another follow through in the strong move. Okay, so we're looking for that up here. I don't see the buyers committing at all. Okay, but really watch this area here, right here, 64.5. Yep. All right, let's see it now. They're up here. Pull back immediately though. Just if it was really big dot in here, that would be something else. I likely would have jumped in on something like that, but it just wasn't. So still waiting. Yep, I like it. Looking good. And let's see it up here though, 65. So they traded into 65 liquidity. Now I want to see it up here again at 65. Yeah, a little bit. Good. All right. Yeah, I think I'd jump in on that. Give this one more try here at 65. Bottom of the range. Bottom of this little range. All right, let's see it again here, 65, and we should get the push. Let's see it. No, stopped out 63.5. So it was worth a shot, right? We were prepared. We knew what we were looking for. Didn't pan out, you know, something like that. And again, guys, we're going through a process in here, and you know, we're looking for this to move immediately. It still may. You know, this is what happens. You get this back and forth in here, and it will get maybe the move back up here, and then the break. Okay, and that's why, like, just look. This is we're only going through very small time frame examples. But the idea and the concept can be played out on much higher time frames. Okay, so we saw a beautiful example here. All right, now this was you know, you would have been in, this would have been a higher time frame move. You're looking for the move to 60, 62, and that was from here around 53. Okay, so that was like 7-10 points. And then we talked about the move up into 70 as well. Okay, so that's like a 20-point move, right? And in here, look at this. Now look at what we're looking at here. And we're looking for our breakout up here at 65 on up, right? Now look at this though. Does it look, you know, it looked good for the time frame we were looking at, but look at it down here though. See the distinction? See how much clearer this is down here? Actually, this is a really good point that Captain Price is bringing up is talking about the correlations. This is something that will make your trading activity even higher probability. Let's jump back and take a look. So I'm looking for this to be correlated to the NASDAQ, for example. Let's look at the NASDAQ. So we see lots of buyers up here in the NASDAQ. Actually, it looks pretty good. Okay, I love it here. The NASDAQ looks great. I think we're going to get a move up into here, maybe 11,000. Okay, so now let's jump back to the S&P. I like it. NASDAQ is moving. I would give this a shot, right? I know that the other market is moving. Now this volume in here does not look as good as it did on the other small trade. Okay, but we have the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ's pulling back a little bit, but this is still in play here. God, they take it right back down. Still in play though. It's still within this range, and these are big clusters of buying up here. Let's see if this NASDAQ can get back up here. That kind of duped us a little bit here. Because this looked really good here. Strong move, strong buyers, not a whole lot of selling. It went below some of the swings on the pullback, and then strong buying again. That's looking good. It really is. And I'm still looking for buyers to come back up here and try to trade this here. In fact, you know what you can do on days like today, because it keeps on just failing at the top edge, you can trade it to the top edge and then try to hold it for a runner as well. Okay, so you're trying to go with the trend and trying to, you know, fade. You're trading the fade into kind of the mean or top edge, and then you're holding for a break of the top edge. Let's see this NASDAQ. This is looking good. It should do it right now up to here, 75, 975. And it can't do it. Okay, let's see if we can get another break here. Okay, so and now you'll see a lot of times you'll see in the market like it couldn't do it and sellers came in, but if it can auction up here again at 970, it can do it. Now watch this. This is, you could trade this one right up to 970. It's breaking this little edge here. It's strong buy volume, looking for the move to 970, and then you could take some off and then look and hold for that continuation. So just is just an idea. You know, these days here we're looking for the this top edge to work and break, and it didn't. And look for a retest back to it though. Okay, and let's jump back to that S&P now, because if we can get that buying up here at this same area here in the S&P, we should get the break. It just depends on if we get the buying up here. And you can see that the buyers just they gave up, and they exhausted here and here, and sellers took it right back down. Tricky day, no doubt. Okay, stop run there on NASDAQ. I'm still looking for them to take it back up here. Yeah, after the stop run. Let's see. Okay, yeah, here they come. Okay, so there's that. Let's see this 970. Should get it. All right, let's jump back to our S&P. Okay, and we're looking for around this 65 area, right? Where that's where we're looking for the breakout. Okay, now, like I said, this is where you can trade it back to, well, maybe this liquidity here, not, yeah, right at 65. You can look for that. Let's see if we can get it in here. Okay, buyers, let's see it. We're at the bottom edge, even in the profile here. Great. Let's see you buy it more. Bring it back up. And they're going to go for the VWAP and 57. So it's at the bottom edge of this profile here. And hitting VWAP. Let's see it reject. Looking for it to reject here. Looking for those buyers to come in. And yeah, initially just trade it back up to high volume node, or you know, back up into here, basically in 65. I like 65 still. Now in hindsight, we can take a look at this. All right, and we can look at why we were looking for these buyers in here, and then the move higher, especially in here. This is looking really good, or better. This is looking better, right? Much better, and right in here for that move higher is because of this. I mean, if we look at that in here, they've tested down here, it rejected, it came back in here, and we're looking for the move back up. We know that the stronger move was here. Okay, and that's what we're looking for, is you know, for buyers to try to take it higher. The bigger picture here now is starting to develop a little differently. This range in here is kind of wonky. It's kind of a range. It's basically off of this range and then this range here. We can see. Okay, so this other bigger range in here is kind of, yeah, a little harder to read, or it's not really quite matching up too well. Okay, so anyway, we're looking for the fading this outside edge here off of the VWAP as well, and then back up to the top edge, and then maybe back up into that previous range in here. Okay, and then maybe that potential breakout. Right, same ideas that we've been covering from the webinar here. Now on our 15-minute chart, we were looking for this swing here, 40. We saw the rejection here. We're looking for the move into or back up to where it dropped from here. So that panned out really nicely on the beginning of the webinar. And then a lot of chop back and forth here, whereas you can see some of the wicks in here. What we were looking for was strong buying move, pull back, strong buying move, back up to 77, and then maybe even fill this gap up in here around 3,900. Okay, so that's the scenario we were looking for, and it still may play out here. In fact, here come our strong buyers. Okay, so yeah, looks pretty good. Want to see them break this and trade back up to 70. Okay, so basically you had to retest back down here a couple times, and then we can see the strong buying in here. Now this is good in here, very good. Okay, we want to see them again up here though at 65. All it's done is traded back to the top of the range. Okay, we want to see our buyers up here 65 and the continuation. This is strong volume, but it only came to the top of the range. We want to see the breakout of the range. This is something like JTrader looks at. Joseph, he's looking for like on a multi-day break of the high, like a multi-day high, right? He's looking for a break of that range, and he will only get involved in trades for those momentum trades when it breaks the high, okay, on the daily chart, okay, a previous high, and on strong volume. So we're using that same concept in here, but just on a smaller time frame. So all we've done in essence is trade back up to the top of the range. Okay, on strong volume, that's true, but now we need to see them trade up here again on strong volume. Up here though, not on the way up. Yeah, I can use sweeps and absorption, Manny. No problem. Michael, why is the VWAP not at 59? I may have it reset differently than you. Let's take a look here. Yeah, see mine resets at session start here at 9:30 Eastern time. This is probably why. Okay, so if I don't have that, see how it comes up to 62 now. Okay, so here's where you toggle that. You know, I have it here reset at 9:30 East Coast time, so the cash open. VWAP and POC. Let's add our POC in here. Oops, not delta. POC. Here we go. No, POC was way down here and then broke, and now it's up here. Okay, not too long ago, in fact. So guys, this is still looking. I mean, I'm not giving up on these buyers here. I still like this concept, especially with POC driving up higher. We got to get the buyers up here. Then we can have a really nice move here, let's see if we get it here. I think we will. I'm looking for that big green dot up at 65 here. Okay, and then the break, and then up to yeah, basically, yeah, 70 or top of this range here, 73, and then 80. We have this to lean on as well. So hold on a minute here. Let me get rid of all these. We have some other volume to lean on as well. In here, this is what we were looking at earlier, and you know, giving it a shot, wouldn't work out. Giving it a shot wouldn't work out. You know, had a couple scratches, had a loss or two. Now we're looking for the bigger move. We've got all of this volume to lean on here. There are more buyers in here than there are sellers. Okay, so our CV, we can double check that with CVD. Okay, so in here from this point on, okay, this is where those buyers came in and Yeah, actually some pretty good selling came in, but we are back up above here, and there's more buying. Okay, it's obviously this buying here. So now we've got that as well. Now we're looking for the spike here, the potential spike. And it has to be big green dots. It has to be. All right, so here we go. Let's see if they can do it. This is European close as well, guys, so be careful about that. But, you know, I think we can have follow through the rest of the day on this move here. Here they come, looking good. You know, yeah, just jumping in on these, really, like before. So maybe around 60, 65 and a half or so, just jumping in and looking for this to play out now. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's see it. I want to see it come up to 70 or just in front of it, and then try to take some off. Okay, now what have we done? We've already made it to the top, or I'm sorry, through that, and then now we want to see it come back up to the top of these areas up here. Okay, basically 70. The liquidity's up at 70. All right, so anyway, this is just one way to catch and jump on the train here on momentum. And now looking for the follow through. Okay, that's going to be a stop run as well. Our CVD looks pretty good there, but let's take a look at stops. Yeah, beautiful stop run. Let's see it, buyers. They pulled back a few times, looking again for these buyers now. And continuation. Okay, back up to 67. That's promising. You know, we go through these concepts, or you know, about like who's in control of the market, and and you know, we look for these kind of strong moves like this, and that they're driving the market, you know, away from an area. Now, so this would have been a stop out at break even. Yet again, we gave it a shot. This is looking better than ever, and it would be another stop out at break even. But the one of the things about the move here and the strong buy volume is the stops and icebergs. Okay, well, the stops in particular, and this is we covered it earlier, that this strong move in here, we want to make sure that, you know, is it new buying coming in? That helps. Or is there new buying coming in after the stop run, right? So you can see that the sellers came back in again. So and a little bit of a stop run in there, but let's take a look into this a little bit deeper here. Okay, so how big of a stop run was that? Yeah, around 300 or so. Okay, so it was pretty good size, but we've seen, I'm sorry, let's see, it might be more than that since I filtered out quite a few. Let's take that off. And let's bring this down to 0. All right. So yeah, quite a bit of buying here. And out of all that buying in here, 300 of them were stops. Okay, so we can see all the numbers over here. And it kind of determined, like, you know, there's probably, I don't know, 500 or so. So the majority of this move in here are stops, maybe 600, something like that. But still, like a big part of that move here was stops. So that's something to kind of really watch on some of these big moves like this, is determine like who was in it. Like we were discussing earlier, if on this higher or bigger move here, the majority of them are stops, well, we want to see new buyers come in, and then they've got to move that market. And if they cannot, we're going to find sellers. Look where we found the sellers, below right here. Okay, here they are in here, here, and here, and now they're driving the market the opposite way. So this was kind of like a false breakout filled with a bunch of false, not false orders, but not orders for entry. Okay, so anyway, understanding that will help you, you know, stay in these trades or stay out of these trades. Okay, if you can get new buyers that come in are moving that market, then we look for that continuation. If it's all stops, then it's kind of empty in essence. Look at this iceberg still in the market here. Jeez. So only 16 of his icebergs have traded. And he's just following the market around. The entire session, well, since just after the open here. So yeah, this is clearly an algo iceberg. All right, here we go again. Buyers yet again up here, 65. And again, look at our, let's take this stops and icebergs on chart off. If we can get that cluster up here, then we can get that continuation. Okay, it has to be above 65 though. Anyway, guys, we'll take one more. It's been really back and forth since we saw this move here, and that was the strong move back up to the open, and then really back and forth in here and choppy. Well, let's end off looking at this chart here on the 15-minute and the hour. Okay, so we want to see if we can get our buyers back up in the top edge here around 70. Okay, bigger picture, not just the move to 70, but a lot of strong buying up at 70 for that breakout. Okay, keep in mind that scenario. On the hourly, it's the same thing. You can see it somewhere around in here, around 73 or so, it looks like. And if that can unfold, then it should be pretty clear sailing up to about 94 to 90 or 3900. Right, now that's just one scenario on the higher time frame, and so far we can see the wicks up there, and then it's just been really choppy in here. The other scenario is, and let's just, yeah, we can take a look at this range in here. If we can get lots of sellers down here around 56, then coming down and revisiting these lows in here, or even down here, so you know, 38 down to 23. That scenario is more likely. Okay, so we're right here and kind of in the middle, and we're looking to see who's going to take it one way or the other. And so far, yeah, we're starting to see those buyers starting to climb again here, up at 66. So if we can get them here, up at the top of the range in here, then we're looking to see for them to continue it here. All right, let's just give it another minute here. I would just love to see this play out. The European market is just closing, so let's see if we can get more of a pure directional move now. Let's also take a look at Captain Price had mentioned this. I forgot about this before. Look at the NASDAQ here. It is not panning out, right? This is such a strong indicator here, or correlation. When we can see the other markets kind of aligning, the move is much more likely to unfold. Okay, I mean, you just see it again and again, and you'll get a feel for it. Like up here, NASDAQ is typically leading, but yeah, you'll see kind of, well, you look for the same things in the order flow. Okay, if we can get those buyers up here, 982 up here. Yeah, looking good. I like it. Let's see, is the S&P doing it? Kind of. A lot of sellers here in the S&P and this little pullback here. So not quite ready is what it looks like. Anyway, guys, let's see. Rashad. Yeah, okay, so basically, Rashad, that's a spam. Okay. All right, guys. Well, yeah, let's see what we get here on if we get any follow through here. Nasdaq's starting to look a little bit better. Starting to see some buying up here. Here they go. Oh, come on, Nasdaq. I would just love to see this here in the next 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Yeah, we're up here. We're up here yet again. So looking for that move to 70. Yeah, looks like it's going to work. Looks good. Looks good again. Looking for the breakout through 70 on this one here. Okay. So look, see when we zoom out a little bit more, you can see it a little bit clearer in here. Okay. So looking for that move into 70 and through it. And then yeah, basically on up 75 and then 80 liquidity. 80 liquidity has been in here since 10:30 a.m. Anyway, that would be the primary scenario here. Let's go back. Let's look at our 15-minute chart. Yeah, I mean, it's mounting. We see it here in Bookmap in the order flow. It's up in here. They got to break above these wicks up in here. And again, like the same idea though, that you can look for the order flow in here and trade up to those wicks, and then hold, take some profit and hold and look for the continuation of the move, right? So that way, like you're kind of trading a range bound trade in essence, but just to the top edge, getting out some. And then basically then you turn it into a trend trade with the hold, right? So that's a consideration. for looking at trading strategies. So you're trying to go with the trend, and you're basically buying pullbacks and then getting out of the top range of the range, and then looking for a higher move though in the trend move, right, by going with that trend. So you can see some of the resistance up here in the wicks, but in Bookmap here, yeah, it's right here. Really, it's this 70 level here, and I want to see buyers blast right through it. Then it could be a pretty quick move to 80. Anyway, guys, yeah, thanks for coming during this kind of period between the holidays. We'll be back tomorrow with JTrader. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button there, helps us a lot. And let's see if we'll have a few minutes to go over the market a little bit tomorrow before JTrader comes in. We'll see if this move panned out here or not. Yeah, I just continue to see buying pressure up at this top edge. So that's what we're, one of the scenarios, the main scenario we're looking for here. And then that follow through. Okay. So, yep. Thanks everybody for coming. And we will catch up with you tomorrow. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.